I'm coming in.
Put your headphones on.
I'm recording now.
If we're in level.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of turning down perfectly good vajeezies.
Yeah, we're good. Is that
Right.
good?
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, are we
All right.
recording?
We're recording.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
recording.
we've been recording for a minute?
No, I just
Literally just press the button.
Yeah,
Cool. This is going to be part of the podcast. All right,
So
Ari, do you want to
I feel
introduce us?
shy.
Do you?
I suddenly feel very
First
shy.
I felt very shy the first episode.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on here?
It seemed like you had a little bit of what has been called by, I believe, coined by Brene Brown. I hate saying that name.
Oh God,
I say
Brene
it all
Brown!
the-
If you're listening to this, he's the only one who
Yes.
feels that way.
No, everywhere I go, people are like, yeah, according to the wisdom of Brene Brown. I'm like,
Whatever.
Shut up.
Brene Brown can be my like older cougar lady. I'm down with that. What?
I would love to see you in a highly sexually charged relationship with Brene Brown, and Brene Brown to be herself.
Yeah.
And she's always helpful to everyone wherever she goes.
No, she would be
But
super
she's-
helpful in bed.
But she's like, you've taught her to be a wildcat in bed,
Yeah.
and so like whenever I see her, her hair is a mess.
Frazzled.
And and she's like, oh my god.
Like she's constantly putting on a shirt
Like-
every time you see her.
And stumbling out of the bedroom, and she's like, I didn't know this side of me. I had not known this side of me, but you have to be brave in the arena. And she's like, and I was. And I got eaten out for hours. Can we just name the podcast like Dragging Brene Brown? Or like the sexual awakening of Brene Brown? How Brene Brown got over.
I'm just like,
Oh
I
my
think this is how
God.
podcasts make enemies with other podcasts.
This is how
Yeah.
podcasts get shut down before they start.
Oh, I was just going to say that's how you publicize one.
Yeah, no, that is
Official feud.
100%. Yeah.
That's
Our
how we-
podcast is feuding with Brene Brown.
We're not
but
feuding. You're the only one
use,
feuding with Brene Brown.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get laid.
But mainly through the use of erotic fan fiction involving her.
I'm the one and only person in this room that's shipping this.
I was in a shame storm while she was eating me out violently. That's okay. No, but so she's
So real.
no, but okay. What I was gonna say. Okay, I had thought maybe you were in what she has called what Brene Brown has called a vulnerability hangover after the first filming.
Yeah. Definitely.
Which is when you when you're brave
Mhm.
and you expose some vulnerable side of yourself, you actually have a physiological hangover the next day. Like,
Mhm.
and it is counterintuitive because you thought being vulnerable would help you progress as a person. But the next day, just in particular, literally the next 12 hours, you feel kind of sick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your body's probably trying to produce so much like serotonin. What's like the calming chemical that your body produces?
I think it is serotonin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't, whatever. It's probably trying to produce so much of that because it's on like fight or flight mode that like your body just can't produce anymore
Mhm.
the next day. For the audience, Ari's looking very confused.
I'm trying to do something about the fact that I've talked so much since you started recording.
uh,
Well, how's everybody doing?
oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing great.
I just finished up work. That was pretty exciting.
Adrian's back from running an Ironman.
From Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
From doing a half Ironman. And
He's literally wearing the shirt right now.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
What-
Flexing.
Which part of it makes it a half Ironman?
Well, full Ironman is 140.6 miles total. And then half Ironman is 70.3. So you basically just half.
Is
Do you have
each
to
thing
swim?
half? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you do half the run. Oh, sorry. Half the swim, half the bike, and half the run.
So it's literally just half of an Ironman.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It was brutal. It was torture.
What was the temperature outside?
It was like in the upper 80s, I want to say, but the humidity factor was like really high.
Mhm.
So it was like, it hurt to even breathe. It was just like trying to get in air.
Heavy air. Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
It was like running in an oven.
No, you sent really sticky photos. Like through the photos, I was aware of how dense and wet the air was.
Yeah.
And then your very bald head. Adrian sent us images of it cracking and cooked,
Yeah.
well cooked, blistered.
Yeah.
Some might say.
Yeah.
Look
If
like-
anybody's ever seen like a tea egg, like an egg that's been broken and like
Yeah.
cracked, yeah, it looks like that. Or
It
a
looked
dinosaur
volcanic.
egg. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Dutch Crunch bread.
Yes,
Mhm.
Dutch Crunch bread.
It really looks like some good Dutch Crunch bread on your head. And so my question to Adrian was, and
Yeah.
I said, let's save it for the pod.
Yeah.
I asked Adrian, is this an event where everyone convenes having made sure their health is at peak, and then the event damages their health?
Essentially, yes.
I don't know if it's so much the event damages their health, maybe just the ego. Their ego damages their health.
Would you like to expand upon that? That sounds incisive and painful. You're saying that Adrian's ego damaged his future.
Well, I mean, like his pure ego-driven confidence of going into something like this.
Oh, Lauren, you are highly mistaken. I do not go into this highly confident. In fact, I was talking to my dad and I was like, my head has not been in the game leading up to this race. And he had to like reassure me that I would get to the finish line. I was like, okay, yeah, I think I could do this.
What were you feeling like almost at the finish line? Were you almost there?
Thank God this is over. Oh my God. It was this, like, it felt even harder than a full Ironman because of the conditions. I had never raced in tropical conditions and didn't understand how relentless it would feel. Like I had to put at the aid stations, I was shoving ice down my tri-suit and like pouring water over my head.
Yeah, you looked real soggy in the photo.
Yeah.
And I figured that was why. I figured you got hosed down to save your life.
Totally. Yeah. There were people that were passing out at the finish line, according to my family.
And how do you check in on yourself and ask yourself if you're making a mistake as it continues? Or do
Well-
you just live with knowing it's a mistake and then finish it?
Well, I walk. So I go from running to walking because I'm like, if I keep trying to run, I will pass out on this concrete.
Do you ever seriously think of just stopping? Because I would only think about stopping. Does it ever cross your mind, or is it just not?
No, I
your
think
menu?
because I've been doing this for so many years now, it's like muscle memory where your body just automatically moves forward, whether it's walking or running or cycling or swimming. It's just like keep going.
Yeah.
You know, you're not even thinking about it anymore.
Hmm.
But, you know, if you have to walk, you walk.
Got it.
And then you're okay? You knew
Yeah.
that you were roughly okay walking?
Oh, yeah, totally. I could totally walk to that finish line. But, you know,
And
it
does
was
anyone care about winning or just finishing as the goal?
It just finished. I mean, unless you're like an elite pro triathlete, then you're like trying to gun for, you know, first top 3 spots. But if not, if you're just like a regular, you know, Joe like myself, it's just like getting across the finish line.
Is there a prize for somebody who wins?
I think there is a small cash prize.
Forehead cancer.
Or like,
You just get forehead cancer as a
That's a
prize.
prize. That's a consolation prize for everyone.
yeah.
And just mild heat stroke.
Oh, mild. That's nice.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
mean,
a gentle
He
heat
didn't
stroke.
die, so
Yeah. I lived. I survived.
So, is there a volume? Everyone's a little too loud in mine.
Okay.
Just a little. I don't know if anyone else feels that way.
Just like everyone?
yeah.
Yeah, I can turn down the headsets for sure. Let me find
If
them.
everyone's
My
fine, then
headset's
just
fine.
mine.
Yeah. Mine is good.
So
Alright.
that turns it down a little bit,
For
but
mine?
it's for everybody.
Oh,
I don't
That's
have
fine.
individual, but I'm okay with it.
I
Yeah.
did-
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that changed anything.
Oh no,
That's okay though. I mean, I'll live.
it went from 100 to 92.
since we're talking about logistics, maybe we should introduce ourselves now.
Maybe we should introduce ourselves now.
Yeah.
You said okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Ari. What did I do? What did I do now?
It is Ari. I'll introduce him. That is Ari.
For the audience.
I'm Scott.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Lauren.
That's everybody.
Is that what you meant, or did...
No, I kind of meant more of like a, hey everyone, I'm Ari. Whatever.
But you're not Ari.
I don't. No, I get it. I understand. I'm not. Thank you, Scott. Sure. I mean, there could be somebody who's like listening to episode number 2 for the first time.
Oh yeah.
There's not that a person.
There's not that person
Yet.
Yes, that's exactly. I was literally working for my actual job until moments before we started this podcast. So,
What's that mean? You want a nap?
no, I want to pass.
That's what I just said.
I do want a nap. I would
Are
love
you
a nap.
asking if you can lay down?
I would love to lay. Can I lay down?
It's the name of the podcast.
The name of the podcast is "Can I Lay Down?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we are literally sitting on the ground right now, so we could lay down at any moment if we wanted to. And there's a bed right there.
Well, and after a vulnerable moment, and after an overheated triathlon, and after a dysphoric cringe episode, you might find yourself needing to lay down.
If you provide the podcast with good content, you are rewarded with a 10-minute nap. Like, we'll set a timer for you and you can lay down, nap, and then you come back to the pod as...
Yeah.
You get 10 minutes.
That's great.
You get
Because
like 10
that's
minutes in heaven.
Like a reverse
but with
pendulum box.
Paquita.
Yourself.
But with Paquita.
Oh, with Paquita.
You get locked in with my cat.
Paquita's, yeah, it's Ari's cat.
You get a dose of melatonin. You just dole out
whatever.
melatonin pills.
I mean, and 10 minutes is like a tiny fraction of the amount of time that we're going to be talking tonight. So.
It's a sleep version of a victory lap, which,
Right. Yes.
yeah, I would never run
Yeah.
as a reward for something, but...
Or when I play hockey, if I score a goal, I just go sit down. It doesn't matter if I've only been out there for like 10 seconds. Oh, absolutely. I get a like celebratory sit. I do a little dance.
You just sit right down in the middle of the...
You just plop down on the ice.
I mean, I usually do a little celebration, a little celly, and then I go sit down on the bench because I just did something real exciting.
I just figured it was so lesbian to score a hockey goal that you get like eaten out for 10 minutes or something.
You're on roller skates, right? This is roller hockey?
No, ice skates.
Ice skates,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's good. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of a celebration do you do? Like a dance or quick skating?
Yeah, like usually there's a scream with the hands in the air. That's the beginning of it. And then sometimes it's like knee down, stick up. Like you put your knee down on the ground and you put your stick up, or there's like a riding the stick like a broom, or like a horse. Like that's a fun
Do you
one.
cackle like a witch when you do that?
Do I what?
Do you cackle like a witch when you ride it like a broom?
No, but I should. That's a fantastic idea.
Have you ever played the stick like a guitar?
Ooh,
That's
no.
vile. You should definitely do that. That's awful.
That is vile. So the last game with my team, I scored a goal, and the score was like 7-1 us. Like we were winning 7-1. And I think I scored like the 6th goal, or the 7th goal. I don't remember which one it was. And the goalie she's just like not the best loser. And she was so pissed that I did a little celebration. She was so angry. She went up to our captain afterwards and was like, I cannot believe they were celebrating. You all were up by so many points. I didn't care.
And there's no way in which it was poor sportsmanship. She's actually just a Sour Patch Kid.
Oh, no. She's just a Sour Patch Kid. Well, okay. So in our league, we have like an understanding if you're above the other team by 5 goals, you just start passing the puck and don't try and score unless it's real obvious. But it was our last game, and I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to just keep trying to score goals because I don't care, because it's our last game. It's not like...
I'm a stunt on these cunts.
Yes. That's exactly what I said to myself on the bench. I was ready. And yeah, I didn't care. And she called us out on it. She called us out on not caring. But whatever. It's a game.
Have you done that classic hockey jersey over the head of someone and like,
Punching.
Punching underneath.
No, I mean,
Are you talking about a fist fight?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a fist fight. So
That's a
like
part of hockey. My understanding is.
Yeah, like a classic goon moment is like you take the jersey from someone's back and you pull it over their head,
Preventing them from doing anything.
right? So you knock off their helmet, then you pull it over their head, and then you start punching them under, under the chest plate.
Thrown out of the league, right?
No, that's just
No.
like a penalty.
That's just Sunday.
Well, no, my league, yes, you would be thrown out because there's no fighting. There's no fighting. There's no checking in our league.
One would think.
Yeah, in all rec leagues, I think.
Hopefully,
I assume, there's no checking, no fighting.
Yeah.
But it's in regular hockey you can do that. I mean, it's kind of strategic to fight in hockey
Because you just get a mild misdemeanor or whatever.
It's kind of like if you've already made a, like if you already fucked up and you already got a penalty and you're going to get called on it, you fight the other person. I mean, I've seen this before. I don't know if this is the only reason some people just get a little aggro, but if you know that you're already going to get a penalty and you just start fighting with the other person and the other person fights back at you, then they get a penalty. And it's like a double penalty. And both of you have to sit down and then it becomes 5-on-5 again.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they don't plan ahead for this misbehavior with the rule book in some way?
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There are
okay.
goons.
I mean, listen. This has gone way past my homosexual limit for learning about sports. I have learned way too much from this conversation alone. The guy I'm seeing, by the way, watches sports. That's how you know he's the top.
Is he a top? Is that?
How dare you go in like that when it was just a joke? How dare you go in like that? I am plausibly versatile until further confirmation is given. Just like every other man.
Switch.
Just like every other gay man, I'm plausibly versatile. No, but he was watching the Spurs. Yes, he's the top. And I, however, am not a bottom. So we'll see.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like a middle?
I mean, it's called switch.
Oh.
It's called versatile. Nobody says switch.
Everyone says switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lesbian thing.
It probably is a lesbian thing.
I think of switch, jokes aside, I think of switch as a BDSM word.
Okay. Well, because
we've normalized the idea of bottom top so much outside of BDSM as gay people that it doesn't have a BDSM connotation to us.
Well, yeah. I mean, it does. It doesn't really have a BDSM connotation
to you either.
To me either. No. But I understand why versatile would be used instead of switch, because lesbians, it's so much like, all right, I do you and now you do me, as opposed to like a very strict top and bottom situation is like the top does the bottom and the bottom lays there like a little princess.
It moans.
Maybe.
No, young lady.
I have 100% had intimate relations with people who have never audibly
bring them
yeah
before the court for a fine.
That is, I know it's
there
horrible.
is legislation against quiet bottoms.
Yeah.
Bring
that's
them
just
before
that's
the
just when
pod.
I tell Alexa to start playing death metal because I can't stand the
Alexa, play sex noises since she won't. Alexa, play sex noises since she won't.
That's how to not have another. That's how to not be invited back.
That's a no second date. But I mean, giving me a quiet fuck is also a good way to get not invited back.
100%.
All right, so we talked about Adrian's physical recent achievements and Lauren's. So Ari, you're next.
What have you physically achieved recently, Ari?
Talk about your physically
Ari,
active life.
you have a workout buddy.
I did sleep with somebody and then transition him into a workout buddy.
Did you?
I did, and it's been fabulous.
Interesting.
Yeah. We originally fucked because he was close in the neighborhood. Because that's how the app works. It goes by proximity.
Is this the Grindr app?
Yeah, Scruff. Grindr is illiterate and disgusting.
I've
Is
never
it
heard of
okay?
that.
Grinder Grinder, at least around here. I'm sure it's the only game in town in some other place. So no shade to any out of town Grinder users.
Sure.
But here in the Bay Area, I don't know what it is, but Grinder is like you're gonna have sex with like the deeply ashamed Roman Catholic from Fremont who came up to San Francisco to go to a club night in San Francisco in the Castro and feels free finally.
I mean, that sounds pretty hot.
No.
No?
Right.
Okay.
No, I don't want any of that.
No.
I don't want any of that. No, I want an adult who can have sex with the lights on, not necessarily inebriated. You know what I mean? Like I want a grown man, not an ashamed 22-year-old clubber who's like, Lady Gaga saved my life. That's by the way, that's just typical gay dialect of that voice I just did. Lady Gaga saved my life.
Really?
That's just a gay accent. Yeah.
Nice.
I had to turn that one down when I was getting given mine. But the people on Grindr are really like
You get given-
dumb and gross and regressive is what I'm saying.
Scott wanted to ask a question.
You get given an accent like how transcendental meditation people get given a
Mantra.
Oh, 100%. There's definitely, there's also lesbian accents too. Tell me
more.
The classic Jodie Foster one. That's a classic.
What is Jodie Foster's accent?
Like Midwestern?
It's kind of a little husky. It's like Holly Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not a lesbian, but she has the voice. It's kind of
Kurt.
It's kind of like this voice.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a slight lisp, but it's not really a lisp. It's like a lisp with the front of your.
It's hearty.
It's a little hearty.
It's workmanlike.
Yeah.
It's matter of fact and to the point.
Yeah, like you're a defender on the soccer team.
Now that is a good.
But you're always going to be a defender on the soccer team.
But you're doing Clarice Starling, not Jodie Foster, aren't you?
But that's also there's a slight there. Well, I was also doing Holly Hunt because Holly Hunt has like a little bit of a southern accent.
But
yes, Clarice. Also.
That's also a Brene Brown impression.
Oh no,
if I've ever heard of it.
But Brene Brown's kind of a little higher up. She's got a little bit of a higher up voice.
But not that high.
Not that
high.
high. Actually, it's not that high. You're right. It's not that high.
No, she's listen. Don't try to divert the lesbian Brene Brown callback. It's happening.
No, I'm gonna like if Brene Brown ever comes out to me in a bar, I will 100% take her into the back room. Yeah,
and take off her Brene bra.
Don't do that while I'm taking a sip.
Yes.
I mean, there are other, lesbian accents, but that's like the most like prominent one. What are some gay accents?
Oh boy.
Jafar.
Oh,
that's the end of the list.
That's it. Okay. Got it. Understood. Okay. So we got through with we figured out your activities. What's your activities in the recent past, Scott?
I don't have any recent activities. What have I been doing? I haven't been.
Are you rolling?
No, I haven't. I guess I went a week ago. I'm going to go tomorrow again, probably. But
rolling, not joints.
Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is Adrian showing his lingo knowledge. But yeah,
Is that what you call it? Rolling?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Do you
Like I go
actually
rolling.
say that to each other?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go roll.
You come up and you be like, "Hey, want to roll?"
Well, I believe that. But do you say to each other, "Are you going rolling?"
I think it would more commonly be like, "I'm gonna go roll," or "I'm gonna go to roll," or whatever. But it didn't sound weird
I'm
when
gonna
Adrian
go
said
to
it.
roll. Sorry,
Interesting.
I'm getting used to this. It sounds like someone said. I don't mean anything.
No.
I don't
No,
mean.
it's-
I don't mean animosity. It just landed with me
It's
like
fine.
someone said Frisco. Like it just.
Yeah, it's because you're
100%.
because you're literally
Yes.
rolling around on the ground with other people. So
Yeah.
it fits.
I'm gonna
Fits
ask
very
my
well.
next date that I want to sleep with if they want to go roll.
But you don't, right? You've never jujitsu'd.
I've never jujitsu'd. I did taekwondo when I was very young. It was I did it with the blue Ninja Turtle. He was my he was my sensei, which is or whatever it's called in taekwondo.
Like what? The actor who played Leonardo?
The guy who was in the suit for the original
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Ninja Turtles.
The live action movie of Shane.
The live action movie. Ugh,
It was, what's his name?
I forget, Larry Lamb was his name. He had a studio called Studio Kicks in Los Gatos, California.
Okay.
Which one was the blue one? Donatello? Raphael?
Leonardo.
I don't know.
Cut out the part where I said it was shameful. We can't do that to anybody. I think it's cool that he was actually a martial artist.
Yeah. I mean, I think they all were in the suits, but it was fun.
To wield those suits in particular.
Oh, absolutely.
Bulky as fuck.
No, he was ripped. I remember getting high and then going to class. It was fun.
Wait, how young were you?
I mean, I was probably like early teens. So like 13, 14, 15, something like that. Yeah.
How long did you do it for?
A couple years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like work your way up belt colors?
Probably. I don't remember. I think it was like purple. Is purple a belt color? I think so. I think I ended in purple.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Right on.
It was good. It was good. I can pull out a kick if I want to right now.
I'm getting a deep fever from all this athletic activity talk.
Ari, I don't think we ever finished talking about your.
That was the only
activity.
good part. I fucked him and then we work out together. I mean, the working out part is not interesting. We just do.
What kind of working out? And I have a follow-up question after, but that
YouTube videos.
Oh, okay. Together in a room or like separately? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay.
He's only like a few minutes away, so he just comes over. He works from home too.
Okay.
So it's nice and easy. Yeah.
And do you ever want to have sex after you work out? Because you like worked up the like adrenaline.
I don't want to, but sometimes I do anyway. No, I'm just kidding. I've only done that once. Okay. And that I did have to have a conversation because I am, as you all know, so enticing. So we could set some sort of clear idea of how much I would really likely sleep with him.
Yeah, you're like, this is roll of the dice.
When I break off a piece, it's a special occasion.
Right.
Light a candle.
Yeah.
This is a foie gras kind of night.
Exactly.
You're a special piece.
Does anyone
that everyone
really
wants to break off?
Exactly.
Ari.
Everyone needs a little nibble of the Ari-kins.
I feel you. You gave me a hug when I walked in your house today.
And it was
I got
luscious.
No, I almost
Yeah, that's a typical review of me. And I almost I'm sure. And it was it was fine. No, but I mean, I'm seeing someone, and it hasn't yet. We have not yet had the wrath of monogamy conversation. So anything can happen.
Yeah.
If you catch me out there, listeners, if you see me in these streets,
catch me outside.
Catch me outside and blow me. Yeah, just if you see me, just ask. It might happen. You never know. Get lucky.
I mean, ditto.
What are?
Yeah, I was kidding, but that was serious. Eat Lauren out at the drop of a fucking dime.
Especially if you're Brene Brown.
If you're Brene Brown, go down. If you're Brene Brown, going down.
What are your feelings around monogamy?
I mean, so I think polyamory is gross because I think people should not say such a pretentious word. That's in general goes against my philosophy of life. I believe that people should, as a way of accepting their death and the fact that we live a disgusting 105 years or whatever inexhaustible Lich King life the humans lead now.
You're reaching.
We should be able to have controlled infidelity. So someone should have their primary relationship and then agree to cheat on each other with one person and then have angry makeup sex.
Okay.
Something in this realm. I mean, I'm joking, but like that's what I
like how you list an emergency contact. You should have your
emergency fuck.
Yeah.
Your second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like pop the airlock. No, but I think you should. I think people should carve out something like and I call it this, a cup of sugar. I think you should have your main course and your cup of sugar.
Well, and it also sounds like you want to have some kind of like sugar crash afterwards. So you want to like have controlled infidelity where you then have a fight after it.
I mean, I only jokingly include that because I knew a couple that was the tone of it. Like his wife was allowed to fuck her ex.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was the only person she was allowed to fuck.
Interesting.
And that's what I mean. Disciplined kink around a little spice. And it's not for everybody. If you can enjoy yourself on a monogamous relationship, then this conversation is not for you. You're good. And no one wants to hear about it anyway.
Although the beginning of this conversation, like the beginning of this specific conversation, you said, I think that this should be how it is for everyone. You did say that.
I think people should at least
not exactly,
think about it.
Right. Just for our audience, please, everyone think about getting them in a monogamous relationship that then turns into a controlled infidelity where then you fuck one person.
Yeah, just
preferably your ex.
And then tell your current partner
the pattern
then
is,
have a horrible fight and then make up sex. Everyone should
for
do
our
this.
listeners, the one person in a long-term monogamous relationship looks the most uncomfortable with this conversation, which is Scott. Scott's married and he's looked unhappy from start to finish with this suggestion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where to weigh in. Like, where do I not get in trouble in this topic?
Why is your wife going to listen to this?
It's possible, but probably not.
All right. Well, if your wife is listening, just.
I mean, my answers are the same either way, but to be clear.
Yeah, really, Lauren, you added a much worse tone to anything he says after that.
Yeah.
Like, Scott, get ready to lie. Okay, now go ahead.
Scott is looking real
here
scared.
Are my spontaneous answers.
Honestly, that situation sounds better than my celibacy that I was not signed up for right now. So, you know.
You're labeling yourself an incel?
What is it? Oh God. No.
Literally, that's.
Well, no, yeah, but
Lauren does have some of the anger associated with it. Incel.
No, I mean, like
I
could go get laid if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I just find so many people boring that.
It's really more of an angry identity. So
yeah,
you have the fury of the.
I have a fury of an incel,
life.
but like.
That's also a good podcast name. I have the fury of an incel.
It's not me. It's that the whole of humanity is not more interesting.
Yeah.
If that was happening, then we'd be good.
No, a lot of people are interested. I'm just not interested in them.
That's the forever problem, right?
What appeals to you, Lauren? What makes you like, all right, yeah, I'll sleep with you?
Oh, okay. What appeals to me? I mean, they have to be pretty good at like sexy talk. Yeah. Yeah. And also like a little more pushy. Like I need them to be a little more pushy.
You want someone open and sensual.
Thank you for translating. That was perfect. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Open and sensual. 100%. Yeah. Then I end up dating a lot of people who are very like closed off.
You want someone open, someone who works on shame in their career, someone who maybe like writes books about
maybe someone whose like name is has some alliteration, a color in it,
or an alliteration. Or are you someone who's been on Oprah who would just ravage your loins?
Or are you looking for more of a material girl living in a material world?
I think that moment's passed. Yeah.
That was Scott doing a Nightmare Madonna callback.
For our listeners, please listen to our first episode.
I informed him to cut out the Madonna section.
Did he?
I don't think it was possible to cut out all the Madonna.
Yeah.
I don't think that would ever be possible.
Gay rights lecture. Very
it was an
helpful
hour
for
of content.
Yeah.
There was an hour and a half of us.
I described how to
talking
use a condom.
And Scott and I's quiet breathing during that conversation.
There really is. When I was looking at it, I'm looking at the waveforms. I can literally see where the talking is. And there's a long stretch where Ari's is lighting up and Lauren's is lighting up and Adrian's and mine are just every so often there's a little pop and it's just like, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. You know, it's very distinct.
So what you're saying is it's clear when gay voices are speaking and you don't like it.
I think we did an excellent job as allies of giving space to the discussion.
And then cutting it out of the final product.
Absolutely. I'm going to drink something.
So I did think that a funny topic could be what you shared.
Oh, my story.
You don't have to. I'm literally just throwing it out there because it was good.
It's a good story. I'm happy to tell it. So you asked last night when we were having our little potluck if how I came out or like how I figured it out. Yeah. I don't know if it was you or someone else asked. So essentially what happened was I was 14. I was a freshman in high school and I would go over to my friend, Dave's house and we would smoke a little weed and hang out and watch movies. It was pretty standard 14-year-old behavior. And one time I got there and everybody had already smoked. And so I ended up doing that thing that you do when you're young is you try and catch up. And I got a little too high and I think we were watching the Titanic.
The Titanic?
Or Titanic, whatever.
No, that's fine. You were watching the Titanic.
Yeah. So we're watching my other wife, Kate Winslet, on Titanic. And at the time, I had no idea that I was 100% certain that I was straight. I had recently had a crush on a boy named Justin. He was very effeminate, but he was still a man. So I got a little too high. And a friend of his called and she was a couple years older than us. So probably about 16. And she said that she had just come out to her parents and her parents were kicking her out of the house.
Whoa.
Yeah. Intense. And she was, talking about self-harm. So he was a little worried. He was on the phone with her. And then at some point he had to leave the room. Now, grant you, I was real incapacitated and he had to leave the room and there was nobody else in the room at the time. So it was just us two. And he gave me the phone and he said, "Hey, keep her on the phone. Cause she's like in a bad place." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll keep her on the phone. No problem." And so I started talking to her and I have had people in my life who were either suicidal or had self-harm and stuff like that because of depression and fear and stuff. So I kept her on the phone. I was really concerned.
It's a good 90s story.
Yeah.
I'm a gay runaway. I'm running away from home because I'm gay.
100%. That was this girl. Her name was Sarah. And so Sarah and I were on the phone. I was trying to keep her on the phone. I was like, "Are you doing okay? Tell me about what happened, blah, blah, blah." Still really high. I was kind of trying to like put words together and sentences together. Mm-hmm. And at some point she asked me if I was gay. And it was a valid question because she was, my friend Dave was, our other friend who was there was gay. And so it was a valid question. And I said, no. And she says, "Oh, okay. Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And she's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm sure." And she's like, "Well, can we test it?" And I was like, "What do you mean by test it?"
Can we pause here?
Yeah.
Do you think anyone? How does this land with you? A teenage sexuality test? Were you guys ever, as straight men, given a sexuality quiz?
No, it seems like a sneaky tactic.
Yeah.
So nobody ever had you on the phone and was like, if pussy, then, and then like leave a blank.
No.
No.
Scott, you look so serious.
No, I thought you meant like someone being like, well, how do you know if you're gay if you don't try it? You got to try it and prove you're not into it. And then I'm like, oh, that's very, very sneaky. I don't think that's going to work though.
I'm sorry. I love the glazed stares from the straight men about the, ooh, my cat is knocking over equipment.
You got it.
I made it.
He flopped over.
He's good.
In anticipation of love. I have to remark on the the non-reaction of the idea of being tested about their sexuality that came from the straight men when I asked that bit.
Yeah, no, they're like, no, why would we ever be tested? Because that's the standard quo. Like, that's the status
Right.
quo. That's the status quo.
Yeah.
You're obviously straight until
That's
proven
privilege,
guilty,
right?
Right.
Whereas you had to get shaken down.
Well, I
by
haven't
a
gotten to that.
suicidal runaway.
I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Well, you kind of did.
I mean, I did.
Yeah,
So she said, we're going to test it. And I was
she's-
like, what do you mean by test it? And she's like, well, I'm going to say things and you tell me if you react.
I
And
have a
I was
Cosmo
like,
quiz.
yeah. And I was like, what do you mean by say things? And she's like, well, like, I'll just say things. And it essentially turned into a very one-sided, like, phone sex situation where she would say like very sexually explicit things and she'd be like, anything? She's like blah 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 vagina.
Yeah, can we
anything?
spitball what these were?
Fart. No, nothing.
Scott, lesbianish. She's like, I'm
at least say
changing.
queef.
I'm changing your tire. I'm changing your tire.
I just unsheathed my tennis racket.
Yeah. At the ridge. At the ridge. It's just a vocal warm up. At the ridge.
Subaru.
Ellen DeGeneres.
She's just like, wait, hold on, I'll be right back. And then you just hear, come to my window. Anything? Moist?
Doc Martens.
We're test driving a Subaru.
There you go.
Do you want to go to the dog shelter and maybe adopt a dog?
Oh, that's like, yeah. Then there's like a river, just like an orgasm.
Do you want to move in?
Do you like my plaid shirt? No, it was much more sexually explicit. It was definitely like, taking off my bra and like,
Oh my god, that's
touching
so
you.
fucking weird.
It's
and
so weird.
And you were
This is all-
I mean,
blasted
like, and just a
stoned.
reminder, I was 14 and stoned out of my
Blasted.
mind.
And this is only over the phone. This is
Right. And
nobody's
also,
seeing
like,
anybody.
I had to keep her on the phone. Like, that was my one job, was to keep this chick on the phone.
I
and
love
so,
that
like,
the
I
groundwork laid for this was like, I'm so suicidal. Anyway, mic check, pussy eating. Mic check, pussy eating.
Remember, you can't hang up. That'd be really bad.
I might kill myself. What if I rimmed you, though?
says the gay man about rimming.
I know, that didn't make sense. One of these things is not like the other. All right.
And so at one point I was like, this is real weird. It was probably very small period of time that this went on, but it felt like hours because I was, time had essentially stopped from my weed coma. And I started wandering around the house trying to find my friends because I was alone in this room with her and with the phone just by myself. And I started looking for them. I went to the living room and I went into the backyard and I went to the kitchen and the garage and I went back into his bedroom. Like I was wandering around the house for quite a while, kind of pacing a little bit, keeping her on the phone, being like, no.
Somebody help. She's pulling me out of the closet.
Right. Yeah.
I need assistance.
It was more that she was like pushing me in a closet that I had no idea existed. And so eventually at some point, after looking in every other logical room like 7 times, I went into his parents' bedroom. And when I opened the door to his parents' bedroom, all of them were sitting listening on the speakerphone to the whole conversation. Yeah. It's shocking. Right. I know.
How did you respond? Are you mad? Are you bemused?
I had no idea. Well, I had no idea. Like I was so clueless. I was such a clueless little super high 14-year-old. I was like, hey guys, there you are. what are you listening for? And
So you, Lauren. God damn it all. For the listener, Adrian's gaping mouth is all of us.
It's
because
just
we're
very large.
It's really fucked what your friends did to you.
No, 100% fucked. But I had no idea. I didn't get it at
Adrian,
the time.
what do you think about this abuse?
So wait. There was never a person in trouble? That was all fake? Or was that...
No, I don't know. So I didn't ask. It was more just like I handed the phone over to them and then like stopped wondering what had gone on. And then after I told the story to someone else and someone else was like, hey, that's real fucked up. I was like, oh, that was real fucked up. Huh. I was 100% clueless. I was very clueless at that age.
And you had oh, they're not my friends moment.
No, 100%. Yes. I did not.
I hate that.
I didn't hang out with them. But what came of that was what happened was essentially is that everyone else knew that I was gay before I knew I was gay, which is kind of a thing that happens with a lot of queer people is like other people see it and they're like, oh, okay, Ari, you're wandering around in like Liza Minnelli clothes and dancing around on top of tables singing show tunes.
Is that what you think a gay man is?
Yes. That is exactly.
We're more than that.
Oh, okay.
We're more gay than that.
I'm more than a Subaru, so. But my first car was a Subaru.
Go ahead, call yourself out. No, but timing. Okay, so first of all, the story in and of itself is a gaper. I'm gaped by this story.
Yeah.
But and I hate them because I picture them being hipsters.
Well, they're not. They were like ravers. So like, this was the time. This was like late 90s, and they were very much like candy like bracelet, candy necklace ravers with like the little suckers, like the baby suckers on their.
So like subtext, everyone can fuck everyone kind of attitude.
Kind of, I guess. Yeah,
that's what I think of. And then, ravers are like illiterate free love people. And then
one of my friends who was very like grungy and like rollerbladed and stuff and listened to like Nirvana and stuff. But it was I don't know.
It was Saratoga in the 90s. You had to be there.
And then after all that happened, I then started questioning my own sexuality. And I was like, wait, am I? Because she had said enough things where I was like, huh. So really, it did kind of work. Like what she did kind of did work a little bit, even though I was vehemently denying it during that moment. But at lunch, this is how I figured it out. It was very scientific. I sat at lunch and I was literally like just sit there against a wall and watch people walk by. It was like a man walked by, a boy walked by, and I was like, "Are you cute?" And then a girl walked by and I was like, "Am I attracted to you?" And then a boy would walk by and I'd be like, maybe. And a girl would by, and it was.
And the data was heavily skewed.
It was definitely heavily skewed. So it was very scientific.
Anything from the straight man?
Yeah.
No, it's just interesting to listen to,
I was wondering if you went straight from thinking of yourself as straight to gay, or if there was like a part in you where you're like, I feel like I'm in the middle, I'm bi for a bit, or if you just went straight.
No, I definitely convinced myself that I was bi for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would say that there's like a very teeny tiny part of me that's like, you're an attractive man. Usually it's like a very scruffy, dark-haired, bearded like Jewish man that I like am attracted to. Probably because the only man that I ever had sex with was like that. So I associate that with some kind of sexuality.
I think people, if they just basically take enough like anti-nausea medication, they become bi.
Yeah, it's like, here's some Dramamine, go fuck her.
I do. I think if you're like blasted with enough weed and then someone's like, it's a body, you can just be like, yum, yum, body.
So you're a Kinsey. person.
No, I'm saying, well, yeah.
But like heavily
when you're
drug-induced
stoned.
Kinsey.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm a stoner Kinsey 3.
A friend of mine recently made a comment about how he wished he was at least bi because it would just like open up even more of the world.
That's not how it works.
That's such a naive way of thinking. Yeah. Cute.
What did you think about it, him saying that?
I was like, okay, yeah, makes sense. You know, your options open up even more.
Does he get hit on by a lot of men?
I don't know. He is married, has a couple of kids.
So he's bored.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like he needs my relationship plan. Where you can have a cup of sugar.
That's right.
You can have any shape of cup of sugar that you want.
Yeah, and then you get punished for it later.
Sign up at Ari's gym for some personal training.
I feel like that's got to be such a thing in LA, like personal trainer escorts. That has to be such a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely porn for that. Oh, we're coming back to porn.
Oh, new and innovative porns. There was a porn called Property Sex on Pornhub not that long ago, and the description was like investor makes a lot on Dogecoin and then celebrates by fucking in his new property that he bought with Dogecoin. And it was called Property Sex.
Did they film it in San Jose, California?
Is that the epicenter of buying property with Dogecoin?
Probably, yes.
That's gotta
Silicon Valley.
That's got to be a calculated like search term play where they're like, people are searching for property and people are searching for Dogecoin, and we're going to be the ones positioned.
It was definitely made during the peak where like housewives were hearing about NFTs. Like that was a little while ago. And I do, admittedly, I don't think it's a heartfelt porn trend. I think it was half trolling, really 80% trolling.
I mean, isn't all like step parent, stepdaughter, like porn trolling? Because it's not really a step parent or a stepdaughter.
Oh, and no, I just meant like it's not a real desire for someone to be like, oh, I hope this porn is about Dogecoin and fucking in a recently bought house with crypto. People really do want to see people fucking their step family members, but yeah, it's just like whatever you call it.
Taboo.
It's just edge. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I guess having sex sorry, Scott.
No, you're good.
I guess having sex in a house that you just bought with Dogecoin isn't very edgy.
Do you feel horny saying it? I don't. When you said it, I had a raging soft on.
You worked it in.
It feels like it only really affects like the first 90 seconds of any video. And after that, they're pretty much interchangeable, right? It's not a continual theme that gets brought up throughout the duration. They're not saying like,
oh yeah,
much
I'm
thrust.
fucking you with my investments.
Right.
Yeah,
he doesn't roll up the deed to his house and like fuck her with the deed to his house.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Now I'm horny.
All of that story gets out of the way, and then they're just like, all right, now we
should direct
now
porn.
we follow the normal pattern.
Yeah, he's just confirming purchases and then ramming her with the mobile phone, or I don't know.
Sell, buy.
I'm gonna 2-factor authenticate you. Oh, I wanted to say, as a takeaway from your friends, gathering together to bully you into being a lesbian.
Right. Yes, that's
there's
exactly
a takeaway,
what happened.
which is it helps. Bullying helps.
Yeah.
It helped you on your journey of self-discovery that people were so manipulative and abusive.
I mean, the girl on the other end of the phone her and I ended up being kind of friends, as much as you could be like casual friends with somebody who's 2 grades ahead of you.
So she was actually chill overall.
Yeah, she was a chill person.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a cool thing that she did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, there's also like, I have no way of knowing what of it was was honest. I don't know if the whole thing was, I don't know. I have no idea.
What do you mean by, you mean like, was she ever in any trouble?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I assume not, but
I mean, there was a bunch of people in the room listening in, definitely not. That was like a whole setup. An awful setup.
I mean, maybe they also it was like opportunists and they're like, oh, let's just go listen to this conversation. This is sounding good.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You guys know the term hypocognition?
No.
Mm.
So hypocognition is when something is too far below a conscious understanding for you to pull it into your conscious understanding. So like when I was a kid, my friend's family's house was full of junk and nobody said anything about it. So it remained hypocognitive.
Mm-hmm.
And then years and years later, someone said the word hoarder out loud and it became a conscious, it became a possible cognitive thought.
Mm-hmm.
Hypocognitive means that it's in that state where it's not the parts and pieces of the experience are occurring to you on some level, but it has remained something you can't yet talk about effectively.
Yeah.
So we never talked about it. Because they never talked about it, I never talked about it. And I actually just sort of was like, oh, your house is so like funky.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you're normal. Mm-hmm. And then when you like you're normal and then you tell a story to somebody and they're like, that's not normal.
Oh, 100%. And that's exactly what happened.
Kind of like what you're talking about.
That's one way to make you more conscious, or they could just gaslight you that you're not normal. They could be like, that's not normal. Are you gay? Gross. But yeah, I mean, piecing together an understanding of what something is makes it possible to be conscious.
Mm.
I mean, you always look like you're about to say something.
She did help me. I mean, they did help me in a sense. They had seen like what was going on with me, but I hadn't figured it out about myself. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of just catapulted me into, actual consciousness, like of who I was.
The funniest thing is that the method she used to do it is like a decent enough way to. She just was like pussy, 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 pussy. She like Yoko Ono'd you into being a lesbian.
We had a friend in our friend group who I was really close with, and we all knew he was, but we never called him out on it. Clearly when he got drunk, it would come to the forefront, but we never.
Those are the best.
Did he know?
I don't know. No, we never talked about it, never called him out on it. It was just kind of like, this is who he is. This is his journey,
So he'd have 3 drinks and be like, God, it'd be weird if something was in my ass right now. That'd be so dumb.
Well, like you used to put
maybe we should test it.
Wouldn't it be so random if you all were like fucking me in the ass?
Well, I mean, he get, a little handsy, would put his hand on my knee sometimes. And it's like, oh, yeah.
I mean, I do that when I'm drunk. I'll just like start flirting with any woman around me. Yeah.
And then eventually he came out, like in his late 20s, early 30s. And I was like, oh, cool. Good for him,
So it's like you knew that it was hypocognitive and that you wanted him to have a gentle transition. Everybody was like, we don't want to scar him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's nice.
Nobody called him on the phone and said, I'm going to jump off this bridge and let you talk about how cute George Clooney is.
Dick.
That we did not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because I think heterosexuality starts out hypocognitive first too, right? Like the classic concept is you want to pull a girl's hair or throw gum at her or something, and you don't even understand that that's sexual attraction until later. And then it's just double with gay people. So my earliest whatever was that the cable, when I was a kid, would show a staticky version of Playboy, the Playboy channel. I'm seeing some nods.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. Oh, yeah.
Oh, everyone here saw that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So before the internet, that was the weirdest, strangest, onlyest porn.
And it wasn't really like staticky. It was like they'd kind of put like weird cosine and sine waves halfway through the video. So you could make some stuff out.
Yeah, every so often it would line up and you could get like a glimpse of stuff and you'd be like, ooh.
You're like, oh, that's a ball. There's one ball right there.
Well, the thing is you could hear the audio.
Which we already things.
That's
nipple.
That's the thing that was hypocognitive was I would watch that porn and get off to it, but not consciously think that I was watching the guy. And I didn't consciously think I was watching the girl, but I just literally didn't think about it.
Oh,
I just literally didn't think about it. And there was this one just totally, you know, in hindsight, like teen movie, hilarious. Like I was sitting on the bleachers with this totally like hot masculine guy who was like, yeah, I like to watch Roberta play volleyball. And I looked down and Roberta was playing volleyball. And he was like, when she hits the ball, her tits jiggle. And so this girl's just down there and she bounces the volleyball back and her big old chest jiggles. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, huh, that's boring.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, Roberta's chest is boring. I was like, but I feel like I'm part of something kind of hot right now with this guy who's pointing it out. Huh. And it still was too murky. It was too murky. And it was maybe a year and a half after that I wrote a letter to my friend. I'll never forget it. Because I just wrote a note to my best friend that the content was literally, oh my God, I just became consciously aware that I'm gay. It was literally that letter. And then her reaction was lovely. She just literally said, let's go to lunch together.
Oh.
Just the two of us.
How old were you?
I was 14.
Okay. That's the same age. It's me. You became conscious.
The gay age.
The gay age.
The age of gay realization. Yeah, and then it was funny too because there was one other girl that ended up coming with us just by happenstance, and she was totally annoying and like Oprah-y, and she was just like, "Well, I just think whatever you do, that's nice and good for you." And it was, I love my friend because she's so intuitive, and just on some level, she was like, "No, shut up."
I love your friend.
She was like, straight bitch, shut up. Straight nice bitch, go to hell.
No one needs your affirmation. Shut your mouth.
And then her take was more. She was like, you know, like she was just like, yeah, wow, no, what, whoa. Like she was like, I'm in there with you. She just did the classic, I'm with you.
That's cute.
And not the like, yeah, good people, good times, you know, family, food, fun. Like
live, laugh, love.
And then, the other girl was so live, laugh, love. She was total eat, pray, love. She was awful. Is that what it is? Eat, pray, love?
Well, there's also live, laugh, love, which is on like everything at Marshall's. Because
sorry, so don't you need to
it.
add them then? Like live, eat, laugh, pray, love. Eat, live, laugh. Okay.
But the annoying girl was like, let's not make a thing out of this. And you're like, no, that's what I want.
That's literally what we're talking about right now. We're making a thing out of it.
And that's a thing that I point out in therapy. This is so esoteric, but I'm going to say it because it is a thing, which is summary instead of process. Like some people will summarize to move to the end. What's the end of something you're working through? And then you just get to the affirmation like, oh, well, you just shouldn't have shame about that. Ding. And it's like, no, process is like, we're in it. What about it is hard. And summary is like, and so what you know is you shouldn't feel bad about that. Ding. And I hate summary, and learning about process was like one of the things that made me interested in therapy too. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
It is more interesting. Like there's a person who it feels like you bring a problem to them and you're like, yeah, I keep eating all this garbage food or whatever. And they're like, oh, I know the solution. Don't eat the garbage food. And you're like, no, that's not, I didn't need any second person for that. Like, I understand that.
That's a picture of someone who solved it already. Right. I don't need a photo of that person.
What I'm puzzling over is why do I keep doing the action even though I know that's the answer? You know, like that's what I want to dig in on and swim around in. And you seem to be ready to move out and be like, well, here's the answer, stupid. And I'm like, no, I told you, I came to you with the answer already.
Do y'all remember your first crushes? I know we weren't really talking about our first crushes, but do y'all remember your first crushes?
Absolutely. And are we talking real person or like celebrity person?
I would say real person, but I mean,
I've never had a celebrity crush.
Really?
Wow.
I guess I've had a celebrity jerk off. That's the limit of it.
Okay. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That seems unlikely.
I am a little weirdly unmoved by famous people, though. I've been in situations with famous people and they've been like, it's nice to be around somebody who doesn't give a shit.
I pretend like I don't give a shit if I'm around a famous person, though.
That's the move.
Pretending is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I do give a shit. I give so many shits that you're famous, and I want to know how. Like, teach me everything you know because I want to be famous.
No, and you can feel there were 2 situations where I became keenly aware that do crack me up of the wave of like animal pheromones that emerge around celebrities. So obviously a concert is one of those, but like I was in Eugene, Oregon once, and there was like a Mission Impossible movie opening, and for some reason Tom Cruise was at it, and I was like half a block away.
It's because he's in Mission Impossible.
I was.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
No problem.
Who else is in Mission Impossible, Scott?
Oh boy, let me tell you.
There's a look.
Here's my
Ving
segment. It's called
Rhames.
IMDb time.
The IMDb energy is rising.
So you were half a block away from.
I was half a block away, and it was as if the air was filled with screams. And I was sort of like, I can smell the stench of a million zebras in heat. Like it was just, there was such a reek. And I was like, what's happening? And I looked over, there was a throng of people around a building. And I walked over and I was like, what's going on? And then someone was like, Tom Cruise is in there. And so I was really annoyed by it. And I just thought it was so stupid and weird. So I just walked behind the crowd and was like, oh my God, Tom Cruise. And then this girl in the throng that was screaming goes, shut up. It was so good. And then the other time was the same exact phenomenon. I was in Santa Fe and I was at a checkout in a grocery. And there were, I swear to God, only like 3 people in the grocery. And again, the same thing. I was like, did someone just get shot in the walk-in freezer? There was such tension. Like there were only a few cashiers, and I just wanted to say to them, like, did someone just give birth? Like, what is going on?
There's like a silence, I'm sure.
There was something, yeah, I don't know all the cues, but I just I wasn't even near anybody.
Wait, what year is this?
Oh God.
Or about?
Well, and
2005.
And who was it?
That's what I'm trying to guess. I want to see if I can guess.
Oh, okay.
Well,
2005. Should we
do you want
guess?
To? I'm getting IMDb energy again from this game, but go ahead.
We all want one guess. Do we all get one question? And where were you again?
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
I'm locked in.
Is it a male or a female? Or
it's
gender?
Female.
I'm out.
Julia Roberts.
What?
In one guess.
What?
So I walked over to a cashier and I said, what's going on in this building? Wow. Like, I was like, what's going on in this building?
Yeah.
And she goes, Julia Roberts is in here.
Whoa.
And I swear to God, the place didn't even have enough people to feel much tension from human beings.
Wow.
But they were like, anyway, how did you know that?
That's like
Adrian?
literally the premise of Ocean's 13 too, by the way.
Is that these famous people walk into a bar?
No, there's the main character who is Julia Roberts, looks just like Julia Roberts and pretends to be Julia Roberts.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I think it's 13.
she actually has a vacation home in Taos. I lived in Albuquerque for a year. And so I like heard.
So you experienced this thing.
I was working
people being
in
keenly aware that Julia Roberts as a nuclear presence might somehow wander through and irradiate everyone.
I was working in film and television in New Mexico. And in addition to a lot of celebrities working there in film and television, there's also a lot of celebrities that have homes there in like Taos as like vacation spots.
Yeah, it's close enough to LA.
Well, and there are more millionaires per square inch in Santa Fe than anywhere else in the country. It's actually the highest condensate. Yeah. I wondered if it would be hard to guess even to you and being in the know, because I just thought rich people love it.
This is neither here nor there, but Santa Fe is, New Mexico is one of the most beautiful spots I've ever been to when I'm there. And I'm like, oh, I could extend my time here indefinitely.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So your first, did we talk about your first crush?
Okay,
so and then we did the celebrity thing. Yeah. I had a celebrity. So I had a celebrity encounter just like that. It was 3,000 Miles to Graceland, I think was the movie.
Okay.
And it was Kevin Costner. Mm-hmm. And it was like here in Saratoga, at the AMC 14 in Saratoga. And he happened to be there for the premiere. And we were watching a different movie and coming out of the theater, and there was this massive group of people who is like surrounding Kevin Costner, and my two friends were two straight girls, and they were
And
like,
what
"Oh
year-
my god, Kevin Costner!" What?
What year was this?
I don't know.
was
Whenever
this his
3000.
peak?
Yeah, it was probably like 2001.
He was every woman's wet dream for a
2001,
minute.
yeah.
Woo-wee.
And I think it was right after the wet dream situation. Like he was kind of falling a little off, but it was still there. And both of my friends really wanted to take a picture of him. We were about 17, 18 years old, and they both really wanted to take a picture with him. And so I took their picture. I happened to have a camera with me, and I took their picture with him. And he was like, "Do you want a picture too?" And I was like, "Meh." He got real offended.
Ooh, did he?
Yeah, he did. He got real offended. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
were-
my mom loved Kevin Costner.
did
Dances
you-
with Wolves was her favorite movie forever. These.
Did you lean into his ear and go, "If you had a vagina,
It did.
if you had a cavernous vagina"?
If you had a pussy.
I really apologize. I sort of said that in a Trumpy voice. Vagina.
A vagina.
Vagina. We're in great competition with Gina.
Cavernous vagina. Cavernous ginas.
My
Okay, sorry. Yes, back to Scott. Your
my
first crush.
first celebrity crush.
Straight people stop talking.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Scott.
That's what this podcast should
That's
be
a good
called.
name. Straight people stop
Straight people
talking.
stop
Straight people stop talking.
They're just show ponies
And
sitting
there's
here
two
for
quiet
no.
straight people on every episode. They don't say
Just a
anything.
couple of
They
show
just
ponies.
breathe heavily.
We're the audience.
You have a signature move that tells everyone you're still in the room, and that's about it.
Ari and I are the only ones who are
Still
allowed to
wake up
take
late.
allergy medicine. The others are just breathing heavily through their mouths. Okay. So your first crush, yes, celebrity, yes, real person.
Well,
Both.
like real person wise, I feel like I would have a crush of the year. Like from first grade on, it'd be like, oh, this is my crush girlfriend or whatever. Like, or this person or the like. And then the first one that really kind of got me was in fourth grade, where I was like, oh, I have a legitimate crush on this person. And so, but I feel like I have very boring school type crushes all the way through until like teenage years, where you have cars and you can try, and you get into the first crush, like crush triangle, where you're crushing on someone who's crushing on someone else, and their friend is crushing on you, but nobody's quite lined up with the right person at the right time. But everyone has all this like pent up energy where they're just like, why won't you notice me? But everyone's directing that in a circle around each other.
Did you have such a high level of crush awareness that you had crushes, say, in first grade, and you were like, yep, I have a crush on them?
I definitely had a crush in first grade, but what I'm thinking about is more high school, where I was aware, like, I crush on this person, her friend crushes on me, and there's a fourth person involved to like complete this quadrilateral.
Mm-hmm.
And no dating, right? Like until high school? Or what?
Yeah, no dating for me until I was like 16. I went out on my first date in 16, but I was also like really religious. So part of my component of growing up and liking someone is like, are they compatible with my religion or something like that? So it incredibly shrinks the pool of available like
moments,
potential people, moments and like people who would be eligible to be like, oh, this would be an acceptable person to pair off with, or think that you're like going to like this person forever or whatever.
Are there any aspects of that are nice, that are about growing up in that with that kind of mindset?
Sure. I mean, I think there was lots of the good side of growing up in a wholesome, like religious environment that were really nice. It probably kept, I think I could probably get myself into some trouble if I'm left on my own and with zero guidance. And I think that for a long time, it kept me in crowds or in groups that were away from spots that I could have gotten messed up in. I didn't drink until I was 21. I didn't try weed until I was 30 and I had a card. I still haven't smoked a cigarette. So like it kept me away from some stuff that I just never did because my peer groups were never into it. So in that respect, good. But I think I definitely have more long lasting like resentment about things, about like feeling like, oh, I was lied to in these ways, or I was manipulated, even if not consciously. I feel like there were experiences that I didn't even think that I could open myself up to because they're like morally right or wrong or whatever. So I don't know.
I don't remember the other question that I was going to ask. Oh, so the religious thing.
Yeah.
Did you and I guess I don't know this about you. Are you still religious?
I am not. In between, like at age 21, 22, I went through a thing and I re-examined everything. And I was like, I think I'm closing this door for me. So from then up until then, yes. And I played by the rules. And then after that, I go, I think I'm done. And I kind of went on my own thing.
Yeah, you still play by the rules, but they're just
I
mostly
do,
for
but
like Settlers of Catan.
I'm not in that game anymore.
Mhm.
Was anyone else here religious at all? Or am I the solo in that?
I did not grow up religious, no. I grew up, well, I was Jewish. I was brought up Jewish until at some point, I think it was like 4th grade. And my father got denied conversion to Judaism.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is apparently standard for men. And then we just kind of stopped going to temple.
What was it? His dick or what?
Probably. I don't know. I didn't
They were like,
ask.
look
I
at
was
that
in 4th grade.
Worthless,
I just-
intact penis. Get him out of here.
I think it was more that my mom used our rabbi as a therapist and told him what a shitty human being he was, and then was like, "Hey, do you want to give him, Judaism?"
That'll do it.
Yeah, no, he was definitely.
They're like, these are chosen people. Goodbye.
Yeah.
We are not choosing.
Yeah. And then after that, I went and lived with my grandma, and we went to a Unitarian fellowship. She's not religious. She's still alive. She's 93. She's not religious. She's kind of spiritual in a way. Like she kind of believes in mysticism and like ghosts and afterlife and all that stuff. But we went to Unitarian fellowship just kind of for like a camaraderie and just like a community. It was really nice. We had a potluck every week. It was cute.
Do you have to be social justice-y?
I was too young to ask any of these questions.
But she is, or no?
Yeah, she is. She's definitely kind of social justice-y. Yeah.
I always thought that's kind of the subtext of Unitarians. It's got to be social justice-y. I could be wrong.
For me, what I took from it was that we would examine all religions and learn about all the religions. And I went to the Sunday school portion of it. So for the kids, I was kind of on the ledge. I was a little older. And yeah, we just kind of examined all religions. Yeah, what about you? Did you?
Well, neither of my parents were religious growing up, but my grandparents were. And so like I went to Bible school and things like that, but I don't know, it just never stuck with me. I think I had consistently rejected it even from like a young age. Was just like, this isn't for me. I'm not buying in. It just like reinforced that as I got older. I was like, yeah, it's just not for me.
My parents made an explicit decision, partly because my mother's Roman Catholic and my father's Jewish, to not raise us with religion because they themselves hadn't agreed on a religion. So they decided they would mildly expose us to religion as kids, and that would be it. And my mother's description of me as a church-going child is that I would say, "Are we going to that building with the donuts again?" I was utterly checked out. And I still remember church, mainly the thrust of it, as boring, like mausoleum-like place. Because she went to a fucking stale middle-class Roman Catholic church. Boring place, zone out, and then I'm bribed with candy afterward. And the thrust of my memory is absolutely that I got candy. Like I can still remember what candy I would get.
What candy was it?
Well, I don't remember what it's called, but it was kind of bursting with these sugar crystals, and it was some kind of 80s candy that I've never known the name of.
It wasn't Pop Rocks.
No.
No.
I mean, back then I also liked Big League Chew, but yeah, and like Lick-O-Made.
Yes,
Oh, Lick-O-Made.
that's still solid.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a daughter, so I have access to like Fun Dip and stuff, but it holds up.
Yeah, Lick-O-Made, Big League Chew. Well, my brother would get Big League Chew, but yeah, there was some kind of like chewy square candy that was full of like a sort of caustic sugar crystal that I was just like, I love this candy, and I've never figured out what it was.
Interesting. Well, if any of the listeners know what this candy
we
is,
have 2 call to actions for this episode.
Yeah, please email us.
email@gmail.com.
Religion definitely was a point of contention between my ex-wife and I, because she was very religious and her family was. And so, you know, she would want me to go with her to church on Sundays, and it was torture for me. I would just sit there and just be like, I wish I was anywhere else in the world right now.
Wow. I
felt so bad because I gave her such a hard time for it all the time too. But I just didn't know how to communicate that maybe this isn't for me. This is just for you.
Do you think in hindsight you should have been like, I will always say no to this forever and ever, and that way we have boundaries?
Totally. Yeah, but I was textbook codependent, not knowing I was codependent, so didn't have the words to communicate any of that. Both of us were codependent on each other.
Okay. Last question, because we got to wrap up. I think my ears hurt and it's been fun. But speaking of all of this religion and sex, I have to end by circling back because I went into an emotional free fall during Lauren's explanation that I think it was you, Lauren, and you were there, Scott, that there's some kind of...
You were there, and you were there.
And you were there, and I'm gay. There's some kind of thing you were explaining to me where religious kids, in order to not have sex, I believe it was that they get soaking. I'm going to say what I thought it was because in my head it's real funny. What I heard explained to me, which can't be right, was that you have a guy and a girl get on a bed and put their genitals next to each other like a dick next to a pussy, and then someone jumps up and down on the bed so that the dick goes in the pussy.
No. So there's
but not by their own choice.
So
it's like
soaking.
An accidental dick and an accidental pussy because someone's jumping up and down on the bed and they're fucking by accident.
So you remember like 90% of that.
You're
yes.
so close.
So the idea of soaking is not the jumping part. So the idea of soaking is that a dick goes in a vagina and it just sits there. Inside, you don't move, zero movement, because the definition of sex is in and out, right? So if it just goes in once and stays there, then you're not doing anything unholy. So
there's
that's
not a third
soaking.
person.
So no, then there's, and I can't remember what it's called. Listeners, if you remember what it's called, please email us.
This is what I just said in a way. This is what I just said in a way, because then if you had a third person move the bed, then you'd be fucking.
Right. So the other one is that there's another person who's jumping on the bed at the same time as the soaking is happening, and so they're not the ones who are moving themselves, so it's not their fault. Right.
Yeah.
So
you're an impartial listener, Adrian. That's what I said.
No, you said that the genitals were kind of close to each other, when it moved, and when someone jumped, they kind of maybe got inside. No, it's close. It's soaking with a person. That's why I said it was 90%.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this technique had to be developed with somebody inside somebody else, and they're just kind of sitting there because there's nothing to do. They're not thrusting, and they're just like, well, I mean, if an earthquake happened and we just moved around, that's not our fault, right? If my friend does it, that's the same thing, right? They're causing the sex, but they're not having the sex. We're having the sex. We're not causing the sex. Everyone's clear, right?
I love it. It's so freaky. Okay, let's wrap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough. I feel like I've soaked with all of you.
This is definitely a lot of soaking. Got to soak with you, Adrian. Adrian physically got shaken after I said that. He was like, I don't know how to react. I'm just gonna hit the
mic. Who's Been Fingered is a decent podcast name. Should we wrap there?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm hitting the record now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.